Okay, here we are. Welcome to another segment of 15 Minutes of Fame. My name is Goldie, and joined with me today on my left side is Julian Carr. Who is Julian Carr? Julian Carr is known for his skiing. Julian Carr is known for his event production in trail running. Julian Carr is known for ... The list goes on. Why don't I pass it off to you, Julian Carr? Tell us who you are, and thanks for joining us here on 15 Minutes of Fame.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's good to be productive in this interesting time in the world. Yeah, I'm Julian Carr. I'm a professional skier and founder of Cirque Series Mountain Races and founder of Discreet Clothing.
And which came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it professional skiing that led you into a clothing company? Was it clothing that led you into skiing? What happened?
I grew up doing lots of team sports, but a lot of skateboarding too. So I
Mhm.
really liked how that was a very personality, athlete-led industry. And when I got into, focusing on skiing in college, long story short, I just realized in the ski industry back then, it was very much a kind of racing. Um, there wasn't a lot of personality led marketing or branding or companies. And I also saw that as an athlete, even if my wildest dreams came true and I had a great career as a professional skier, you have a shelf life as an athlete, obviously. So I saw a few of my favorite skiers getting to the point where they were looking at the next steps in their life, and I saw a few of them, really struggling with what that next step was going to be. And it was some of like the biggest names of skiers back when I was starting my career. And I just right away was like, I want to create a cool little brand that I can grow alongside my skiing, so that if and when the shelf life of the idea of being a professional skier comes up, I'll have something else going on that will be a creative outlet, will be a part of the industry, and obviously income. And so they both kind of happened at the same time. But I think, a lot of my passion was put into the ski career, and I put in just enough effort in the brand that I knew I could convert it into being, a pretty airtight program later. So that's exactly what I did. I just put a lot of energy into the marketing and the branding and learned a lot about what it actually took to be a viable business in the outdoor industry. And so that was 15 years ago. So, and then 5 years ago, the Cirque Series races came along, and it's been fun to channel everything I learned as a professional skier from the marketing and the production side. Um, and then everything I've learned as far as running a business from the discrete side, and kind of putting that all into Cirque Series. And just my goal was to do it right out of the gate, because I made a lot of good decisions with discrete and a lot of bad ones and learned a ton. So with Cirque Series, I was like, I'm going to do this right. And so it's been really fun to, obviously it's all revolved around the outdoors. I love being in the mountains. So
Well, I can firsthand attest that the Cirque Series is pretty rad.
nice hat, nice hat.
Yeah, I didn't even do that on purpose. I just actually wear this hat. Um, so, so, and there's probably a lot of people who will watch this that will say, what does it mean to be a professional skier? Like, I don't get it. Like, you just get to go ski every day. Like, how do you eat? Where do you, what does that mean? Like, now, if they're watching your Instagram, they know that you are all over the place. You're getting some of the sickest lines. Dude, I mean, your Instagram is like a small dream sequence for a lot of human beings, right? You're heli skiing in Canada, you're heli skiing in Alaska, and you're over in Switzerland and Austria, and you're doing team trips with Team Icelandic, and having personal trips with guys like Mark Morris, and yeah, and like, having the ability to live a life based off of skiing. And one of the things that people may or may not know about you, you currently are holding the world record of hucking your meat off of a ledge into snow. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's verbatim.
Yeah. And so what is the height of that right now? Is it 200 and
The one is 210.
210 feet off of a ledge, and you're like, let's just jump off that?
Well, you got to throw in a flip, and that's the record.
Yeah,
Highest invert.
You always got to trick it. I remember a funny comment from Tom Wallish once saying about this hit that they made in Sun Valley, where it's like, okay, they just made the largest hit I've ever seen in my life. And not only do we have to hit it, but you got to throw a trick. So this is interesting because coincidentally, I spoke with Travis Parr this morning, of course, the designer of the top plates of those skis right there. Those are, it's actually kind of like natural that they're just here in the van with me. Um, and I was speaking to him about, like, what's it like for an individual who is self-made, who has taken their life as a subcontractor, as a sole proprietor their whole life, and he's an artist, and he's in a time right now where the coronavirus is affecting everybody on the planet. And and I'm thinking, okay, cool, he's an artist. That's probably like one of the first lines cut in budgets and all the things when it comes to business, right? And that is, of course, very true, right? Like, the phone's not ringing off the hook for him right now. But what is ringing off the hook for him is his creative ability to get more work done. There's time for him to get jobs done, and know that there will be jobs in the future because he continues to deliver on the art that he promises his clients. So he says ultimately, like, right now in life, it's not slowing down him at all. What is it like for a professional skier? I want to get to a point here soon because we're cruising along in time. Is here in Colorado, we have been put on lockdown, and this has happened, of course, all over the place. And so they're discouraging the uphill access of skiing any of the resorts, right? As a matter of fact, I heard 2 gentlemen yesterday in Utah were ticketed with trespassing tickets at a resort where they were doing some uphill skiing, and then a cop ended up giving them trespassing tickets saying, hey, we've said it, man, you can't be here, right? And then you got your opinions on Facebook. It's like a rant of barf, but either way, it's you see these things happen. Okay, I love skiing as much as you do. We love it in our own perspectives. We want to go. Like, there's nothing more that I'd rather be doing than skiing, right? It's just like that motion, that feeling, that it's, you don't think, there's no coronavirus when you're skiing. There's no problems. There's no troubles. You're just skiing. It's just like the most freedom thing. We talk about it all the time. It's hard to strip something like that away from somebody. And in a time like this right now, people who don't ski are like, get the hell off the mountain, you damn hippie. Go home, sit in your basement and cry it out, right? And it's like, come on, man, you don't understand. Like, I got to go ski. But you've got to respect the current situation, right? So the biggest problem that I see right now happening in Colorado is there's an influx of these so-called now educated backcountry skiers who are going backcountry. And just not more than 3 days ago, we had a total in 48 hours of 8 people caught. Not completely. 3 of them were complete. The other 5 were half submerged and got caught. Things like this. Now, they know this because the CIAC goes out there and tries to help. But right now, in the current world situation, there's a problem that we could be stressing medical staff that could be in hospitals helping the COVID situation versus somebody out skiing and they got caught in an avalanche. Being a professional skier, being somebody that is not going to fold your cards to go skiing or however you're going to live your life, ultimately, without putting you on a hot seat asking you about skiing, I put you on the hot seat of asking the question, what is your view as a professional skier with the use of 911 services when we have a world crisis versus personal skiing? What do you do then?
Well, I think it's, a delicate subject right now, but I think that regardless of COVID or not, anyone that's seeking to go in the backcountry needs to have the adequate education and equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they shouldn't be going.
Right.
I think the bigger issue is the social distancing. I've seen a lot of these places with, it's pretty packed and people walking on the road. I've seen photos of people waiting at, I don't know, it's just been so not following that guideline.
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just from what I've read, that the biggest strain on the health industry is obviously the amount of ventilators and qualified people to handle the volume of people on COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think that 5 people that were caught in an avalanche is going to strain that health system that obviously is in a delicate and very emergency state. I think it's the social distancing that's the bigger issue. If people want to go ski, I think that's okay. If they have the adequate equipment and knowledge and they are truly going to be out there.
All right. So we left off before the internet cut, and we were answering the question, what is your thoughts on backcountry skiing versus the use of medical services in the current stasis of the world? And we'll pick up from there. So go ahead, Julian Carr again, please. Sorry about the internet.
No problem. I think that the bigger issue is the social distancing that's not being adhered to.
Got it. Got it.
And I do think a lot of those people don't have the proper education to be in the backcountry either. So I think the social distancing and then not having the proper knowledge to be in the backcountry, to me, is like the bigger issue. If you want to go ski and be truly out in the middle of nowhere with no one else around, I think that's okay. And the health system is strained right now. And I know it's because of ventilators and trained people, and there's a lot of volume. So I don't know if trained personnel for mountain rescues is going to strain the system further if they need to go help a few people that were out skiing. Because I personally am getting out every day to enjoy the outdoors. I've gone skiing, and I rely on my own, sense of self-responsibility. And I think that we're on a slippery slope, obviously, because there's so many people that are out there right now. So it's a tricky question.
Well, and I think that, if anyone's taken an Avi 1 class or a course, 3/4 of the course is in the classroom. You don't even get out and ski because you're talking about things like dynamic between the group that you are going and skiing with, and like, where is stoke levels, and is stoke overriding conscious decisions and things like this. And this is almost like a direct example right now of showing where stoke is overriding conscious levels of, it's an aspect. Backcountry skiing is like one of the most moment to moment decision making sports out there, right? I mean, like, literally, and like, maybe you can associate it to golf, where it's like, okay, cool, I shot this shot, now we're going over here, okay, we're gonna now rethink this entire game, and we're gonna take this club and we're gonna shoot this shot, which will go over there. Okay, now we get here and we're gonna shoot this shot. Very similar to backcountry skiing, where it's like, okay, we're gonna ski over here, we're gonna assess our moments, and then we're gonna continue on. Every moment is a decision. And why wouldn't this person, we had a problem the other day at Arapahoe Basin, or not Arapahoe, Loveland Pass, where, yes, just like you said, everyone's convening on the same mountain to go backcountry skiing. And it's like, you guys, literally, in this, I thought of this, like, we literally have 54 14,000 foot peaks that you could potentially go ski, and you all chose the same one to ski at. Like, come on, Jerry.
Well, those guys are probably the same ones that have a bedroom full of toilet paper right now.
Mm-hmm. Right. A lot of strange decisions being
That's
made.
the analogy.
So, I agree. Okay. So, Julian, ultimately, it's like this. We have about 1 minute to go. And first off, thank you for being on this show and at least like lending your, a professional athlete's opinion and view on what it would be like to go backcountry skiing in a time like this, because free will of human beings is hard to take away. And so, you have found a way to make it work for you. Speaking of finding a way, if people want to learn more about the Discrete Cirque Series, a trail running race, or more about your skiing and see what you do, and maybe they're interested, they want to say, hey, you know what, I want to find out more about Julian Carr, and like, what is he doing? What are decisions he's making that maybe I could do down the line that puts me in his same spot? How do they find Julian Carr? Is it an internet website? Is it Facebook? Where do we find you?
I probably just follow along on Instagram. I call that my mini blog. So
Yeah.
for current, up to date, whatever I'm up to, typically that's the place to I'll interact and be current there.
I love it. Okay, Julian, thank you so much. Julian Carr on 15 Minutes of Fame. And we'll
Thanks,
see you on the
Colin.
next.
Appreciate it, bro.
You got it, brother. Cheers.
Cheers.